guys, we're back again with another episode of Conversations with Therapists, and today we have the amazing Carly Hill. Carly is a licensed clinical social worker and business strategist, helping female clinicians venture into the coaching world, but not just get them started. She specializes in helping them thrive and build a successful online business. And we're so excited to talk to her about her life, her freedom now with coaching, and obviously her why and how she got started. So let's dive right in. Carly, tell us how you got started in the therapy world before we go to coaching.
Yeah. Thanks for the introduction.
Oh, sorry.
And thanks for asking. I feel like I don't get this question often. So it's great to talk about.
Oh, good.
I got started being a therapist because my mom, she's a social worker, and also just my love for children. So I always wanted to be a teacher, and my major originally was early childhood education. But then, I wanted to do more than just like teach them their ABCs. Like I was really fascinated in getting to know the depths of their life and
Yeah.
uh, helping them more. Right. So then I started, speaking with school counselors and what else can I do? And of course, social work came up. I always joke like, it's embarrassing, but kind of a deal breaker for me was the fact that I didn't have to do math. And I was like, sign me up. Like, I get to help people. I get to work with kids and teach them. I get to teach them more than their ABCs. I don't have to take math. My mom's a social worker. This feels in alignment. And I just started to take some of those classes. And I mean, I took off. I was in love. I straight A's. I was in flow doing social work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So what was that like? Were you still working a full-time job and doing classes? Was that intense, scary, stressful?
Yeah, well, when you're, in school, grad school, you have your internships too. So and you don't get paid for those. So, which is crazy. You should. I don't know how people who had families at the time were
No. Doing
managing that
that.
because I bartended throughout college and that was the only way I could pay my bills because I couldn't have a daytime job because I was going to classes and then I would leave my bartending gig at 2, 3 a.m. and then go to my 8 a.m. internship. So it
That's
was madness to say the
yeah,
least.
that is
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, I also chose a profession where I didn't have to do math, and then I switched to marketing. Now I own my own business and have to do math, so that really sucks.
But it's
But
different kind of math. I do math all day in my business and I'm crunching numbers constantly with my calculator, but
it's
it's not
like
the type of math
it's
they
like
teach
fun
you.
math, I guess, because you're
Yeah.
seeing the good results and you're not having to sit there like, why did so and so board a train at this point, and how many miles did they go, or whatever the heck those were. Those were awful
I agree.
word problems. Okay, so what happened when you graduated? When was this? Like, were you like
God.
fresh
Uh,
fresh out of grad school and you jumped
yeah,
out?
so I graduated in 2015.
Okay.
I got licensed in 2018 because then you still got to pay your dues when you graduate with your master's degree and
Yeah,
you're
you have to
labeled an
do like
intern.
so many years of like clinical supervision, right?
Yeah. So
Mm.
2 years minimum you need to have, at least in the state of Florida. Every state is a little bit different, which
Yeah,
also
that's
drives me crazy.
yeah.
But yeah, so you got to get your clinical hours, pay your dues, as they say, and get dirt pay, and then you can flourish into the field.
Yeah. So what was your flourish into the field? Did you just jump straight into your own private practice, or were you with like a group practice?
No, I went to community mental health. That was my first job out of college, and I was being paid $18 an hour with a master's
Oh,
degree.
oh my
Yep.
gosh.
I was traveling all over the county. I was seeing 25 to 30 clients a week.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, it was going into schools, going into homes. It was pretty sketchy, I'm not going to lie. Uh, uh,
Yeah.
it's anybody who's been in community mental health knows, but I felt like I could do anything after that. It definitely made me a better therapist for sure because you just see a lot, but it wasn't sustainable by any means. So I did get free supervision there. It was my first job out of college. I wrote it out for 2 years and then I left for a 9 to 5 job. because I asked for a raise once I got licensed and they said they could give me like $2 extra.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah.
And just, like,
So,
the mental load that you're taking on too is just unbelievable, I'm sure.
yeah, it wasn't sustainable at all.
No.
No.
So did you take a 9 to 5 job outside of the mental health field?
No, I was doing therapy.
Oh,
So I was working at a brain performance center and I was doing QEEG, brain scans, neurofeedback, biofeedback, and therapy as well. It was a really cool job. But also, I mean, I was making 50 grand a year as a licensed clinical social worker. That also wasn't sustainable. I just had an itch for more freedom, flexibility, security. They actually shut down when COVID hit indefinitely.
oh,
So everybody got laid off and I didn't have a job. So that's when I started my private practice. So I wish I could say that, like, you know, pedal to the metal. I'm doing the damn thing. I'm starting my private practice because I had always wanted to, but it took me getting laid off to start my private practice. Frantically, I went on BetterHelp, and that was very short lived because that's a joke and how the system even works and how they
yeah,
pay you. But,
I've heard
you
that.
know, money was scary when you're laid off and starting your private practice. And there's a lot of floating pieces to figure out. So that was kind of my journey into starting private practice.
Yeah,
Then I started uh, thriving in my private practice after the chaos. I mean, it was chaos to begin with because you don't know what you're doing and you're telling yourself the story of I'm just a social worker, I'm not a businesswoman, right? Luckily, I'm well known in my community and I had people word of mouth that just filled my practice. But then I was back to back one to one sessions and trading dollars for hours, still craving more freedom, wanting to outgrow the office, if you will. I had a realization I was coaching the whole entire time. So I really started
oh,
studying the difference between therapy and coaching.
yeah,
How do I protect my license? How do I break free of the limitations of this interjurisdictional model where you can only see clients within your state that you're licensed in?
mhm.
Because with coaching, you can see people nationwide, worldwide, and I was not even treating my clients for medical necessity. It was the situational, non clinical, less severe problems.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
But I thought I was doing therapy because I'm a therapist by trade and I
Yeah,
was having my private practice. But because nobody really teaches you the difference
no,
between therapy and coaching.
well, and I know that, like, coaching gets such a bad rap because people think it's, like, unregulated and you go to school and you're kinda, like, trained all this stuff, but then you get out there and it's like, there's a lot of flaws in this system that I was trained in. There's opportunities in this other field, so coaching is it's not as bad as people think it is. Um,
No, there's a time and a place for therapy, and there's a time and a place for coaching. Not everybody needs therapy, not everybody needs coaching. So
yeah,
I think it's about, broadening your horizon and scope of work to where you can use your clinical discernment. Are they a fit for coaching? Are they a fit for therapy? And you're not pigeonholing yourself.
yeah. So when did you start to realize like, okay, I'm gonna do something else with this coaching thing, or there I can do something else with this coaching thing? When you were still
Yeah.
doing these one-on-one sessions?
Yep, still doing the one-to-one sessions, and I really just started studying, the difference between therapy and coaching, speaking to attorneys and understanding how I could protect my license and do this ethically and legally. Then I also started studying the online uh, coaching industry, and I'm like, what do these coaches know that we don't know, and how the hell are they so successful when they didn't
Yeah.
go to school for this? Like, I was still rolling my eyes at coaches, recognizing that I was coaching myself, and how can I leverage my time, buy back my freedom? So I started creating recorded course content and creating workshops and teaching. Simultaneously, I also started business coaching because all of my therapist friends were asking, like, how do I start my private practice? And what are you learning about therapy and coaching? And I'm just a natural teacher at heart. So I started teaching that as well. So, say my one to one coaching sessions, I was business coaching, I was studying the online industry,
Oh my
and
gosh.
then, you know, delivering my workshops and online recorded courses for my own coaching clients. So, I started charging like 17.50 a month for coaching clients with a package where I was doing hypnosis, Reiki, tarot,
Oh, cool.
customized trainings. I was just taking everything that I was learning in the online coaching industry and all of my clinical knowledge and helping these people with coaching problems, like more situational, non-clinical, less severe.
Yeah, so
And
did it
then that's where I started Therapist to Coach Accelerator because I finally nailed it down. I pieced everything together for myself. And again, natural teacher at heart, I was like, this is it. This is what every therapist needs to know. This
yeah,
is the ticket.
were you seeing when you were doing these first coaching packages, were they people, like, just who weren't maybe, like, therapists, or was it just for therapists?
No, no, it was just people like they were having, divorce, relationship issues, health and
Yeah.
wellness issues. Um, I did a lot of work around manifestation. So, like manifestation courses. And I used to teach people like introduction into spirituality. So, I did like pendulum trainings or tarot card trainings. Um, Again, that's just like the teacher in me. It's like
Yeah,
anything that
that's
I
so
was
cool.
learning, I just wanted to teach other people how to implement it. But, the customized hypnosis, those were just for your ordinary, everyday people.
And were you seeing, like, men and women, or were you already kind of going towards just working with women?
I was targeting the women.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
so cool. Yeah, when you said, like, Reiki and tarot, I was like, are you teaching other therapists how to incorporate that, or are you just, like, using
I
those tools to
did.
help people? You did?
I did do that too. I did. Yeah.
This is
Uh,
awesome. Your journey is
yeah.
so, like, what was this, 2001, 2002 by this point?
Um, no, this is when the pandemic hit that I
Oh,
started
so, like,
this.
2020. So you're
This was
like,
like 4 years ago.
oh my gosh, that's so cool. I was just so fast. And now so how did you get from there to now female clinicians looking
Yeah.
to branch out?
So actually, I was going to address this when you did your introduction. I have since this is totally new, like a couple weeks ago, branched out to men as well.
Oh, cool.
So ever since I wrote my book, the Therapreneur book, and I was doing paid advertising for it, it was actually an accident where I clicked men and women, and all of these men started coming out of the woodworks. Like, how can
Really?
we
That's
work with
awesome.
you? I see that it's just for female therapists. So I have broadened my scope. I do work with men as well. I always have. It's just been one to one. They have my community has always been exclusively for
Oh, I
the
see.
women, uh, but now it is open to men. So
So we do, like, marketing for therapists, but when we see male therapists, that was bad grammar. When we see
yeah.
male therapists come through, they have the hardest time getting clients. So are you helping them with that aspect of their private practice too, or are you just helping them kind of move away from private practice into coaching
So
fully?
my MO is just helping therapists, whether you're, a man or a woman, tap into the coaching industry. So not growing their private practice.
Okay.
Although they could take all of the marketing that I teach, 90% of what I teach is marketing and sales, and they could apply that to their private practice. They
Yeah.
absolutely could. But I would say that there's more specific business coaches for private practice growth, whatever that
Mhm.
looks like, whether it looks like starting group practice, getting more self pay clients, getting off of insurance, just filling your caseload, marketing in that sense. No, that's not
Yeah.
me. It used to be me, but since it's just, you know, helping therapists add coaching, outgrow their private practice, outgrow
Yeah.
the office, create their signature coaching program, market, sell, deliver that.
Yeah. So how you okay, so back in, like, 2020 or whenever the pandemic, you're doing all of these coaching aspects, and then you kind of now have winnowed down into just helping move towards coaching. How did
Hmm.
you decide, like, I'm done with, like, helping the private practice growth and just do coaching? How did
Honestly,
you
it was just the natural progression
Mhm.
for me. Um, this is where my heart was. Anyways, this is what I was doing in my own practice. I really resonated more with the coaching anyways.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was doing the coaching the whole entire time. I just didn't fully recognize it because, again, nobody teaches us the difference. and it's scalable and sustainable. In your private practice, you can scale it by upping your price or hiring clinicians and having a group practice, which I did hire clinicians under me. I'm a qualified supervisor, so I did that for a little while as well. Personally, I didn't like it. I felt like I was kind of babysitting. Like, I never saw myself having a group practice. And I know some clinicians don't see themselves having a group practice. So when they think about how can I scale? What is a way for me to leverage my time, leverage my skills, my clinical knowledge, and make more money? You can grow a group practice. You can up your rates, right? So if you up your rates and you don't have a group practice, you're still trading dollars for hours. So there's still going to be a cap on your income, but you might be
Right.
okay with whatever that is if you raise your rates or you switch from, insurance to self pay and you have those. It could be the group practice route, right? Or it could be adding coaching and selling digital products, creating a signature coaching program,
Yeah.
tapping into the group coaching instead of just one to one. Because now you are not trading dollars for hours. You're really leveraging your time by the one to many model.
Yeah. Were you when you were supervising, were you still getting to see clients or were you just like supervising at that point, like in your group practice?
I was still seeing clients.
Oh my gosh. So you're seeing clients, you're
Yeah.
kind of having this like aha moment, and then you're also like having to babysit, not well, you said babysit. So babysit these other feels like you're babysitting these other clinicians, and I'm sure that's just exhausting. Like I could burn out just thinking about that. I feel like that's very
Yeah.
stressful.
Burnout is a big thing. And I love supervision. I really did love doing it. And it didn't feel like babysitting when I was doing supervision, but the fact that it was my business and I
Oh, I
was
see. Yeah.
managing all of the clinicians under my business, like that's what kind of felt like babysitting, if you
Yeah.
will.
Yeah. So how did you teach yourself all of these build your own business aspects, or did you have like a coach at the time, or were you just like there's more. Like I know that there's more. I have to figure out how to do this. Like how did you even learn all of that? Cuz again, they don't
Hmm.
teach you in school.
No, they
They
don't.
just throw you to the wolves basically.
Yeah. I've had countless amount of mentors. I've spent, six figures in the coaching industry, just investing in
That's like
business
going to a
coaches,
second school. I mean, you're basically
literally.
going to yeah, you're going to business school and running your business.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm still going to business school.
Yeah.
I constantly learn and invest and listen to podcasts and read books and invest in coaching programs and mentors. Like, there's so much to learn in this industry. It just never stops. And you do have to stay up with the times as
Mhm.
well. So I think, you know, the fastest path to success is hiring mentors and hiring a mentor who is where you want to be. They've walked through it themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of times when we talk to people who have moved out of therapy into coaching, it's because of all of their lived experience. It's not that they just jumped right into coaching. It's like this, and this kind of happened and caused me to decide that this isn't good enough. I need to do something else, or this isn't right. I need to help others. Or like you said, people were just
Mhm.
coming to you asking these questions already because you're naturally, you know, collecting this knowledge and then sharing it. I think that's so
Right.
cool. That's so cool. So I want to talk about your book. So
Okay.
you just showed it a minute ago.
Yeah.
What does that book cover? What does it talk about? What can people expect from your cute little book there? I love the cover.
Yeah, thank you. So, Therapreneur is the title, and it honestly goes through everything. It's the A to Z. So, transitioning from therapist to coach, protecting your license, clarifying your niche. This is a problem for a lot of therapists. It's difficult to
Oh
figure
my
out
gosh,
when you're
so
used
hard.
to solving every problem under the sun. How to reduce your hours. So I go over the business plan, marketing. I cover a lot. Writing your story. So branding, mindset, the whole shebang. So
Cool.
it's pretty in depth, but you can bang through it in like a weekend.
Yeah, and it's available on your website, which we'll link below so
Yep.
everybody can buy it. Okay, so you wrote that book last year. Did that launch last year? I know that you've been posting
Yes.
about it. And then now this year you've started one more step further. You're offering book writing services, right? Or is it
Correct.
more than that?
Yeah. So I wrote my book in 6 months. It launched in August of last year.
Okay.
And ever since I wrote it, I have been getting a lot of questions, naturally, of like, how did you write this book? How long did it take you? What was the process? Is it a good marketing tool? How should I go about it? And so, in true Carly nature, I created a book writing program for
You're like,
therapists.
I can help.
So, yeah, I have partnered with the best in the industry because I actually started like Googling like book writing program for therapists. I was like, this has gotta exist. Uh, and it doesn't. And,
Mm-mm.
and not in the way that I wanted it to. Like I found some things and I even had calls with people. Uh, so I got introduced to a great partner, and we worked together to craft this program that did not exist. So we have brought it to life. It's called Bring Your Book to Life to help therapists, coaches, healers, conscious entrepreneurs write, publish, and have their book in their hand in 6 months.
Oh, that's so cool. That's a good
Yeah,
timeline too. I feel like, otherwise it's too rushed and you don't really I don't know, get
there's
into
a
it.
lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like a whole program, so they sign up. Do you guys have like a cap on how many people can be in the
Only
program?
10 people.
Okay. And you do it like
Yeah,
every 6 months, so has it
correct.
started or when
It
does it
starts April 1st.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So you guys
So we're
sign up
in
in
enrollment period right now.
Yeah, that's so cool. When
Yeah.
you were writing your book, what actually after you finished writing your book, what did you notice from that? Like, what were the? I'm sure there were a lot of positives, but did it just bring in all these people? Like, what happened after you finished that?
It's a huge credibility booster.
Hmm.
uh your knowledge, you become omnipresent, really. Like your knowledge is just spread all over. You become more easily accessible, which is so part of my mission, is just to share everything that I work so hard to learn and have this kind of one-stop shop, step-by-step guidebook that gives you all of the answers. So it builds trust, it builds authority, it builds credibility, and it's a revenue driver. So I launched my book in August. Since then, I've brought in at least an additional 50 grand just from my book
Wow,
alone.
that's amazing. And
Yeah,
how is
because it
it?
brings in clients.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because you're building it. Yeah. Okay. So how are you
It's a
getting it?
marketing tool.
Like, are you getting it on, like, social media? How can people if they're writing a book I guess you teach that in your class, so come to your class, but, how do they maybe they've already written the book and it's just kind of tanked, like, maybe they just threw it on Amazon. How did you get it there?
Yeah. So you need to have a strong, social media presence. And I have a book funnel. I have paid advertising. So it's just about telling people how they can access your book, why they should access it, what they're going to get inside. So we need to assign value to the book itself
Mhm.
and make it a no-brainer offer for them to get this book, right? But we need to get it in front of their eyeballs. So on your social media, yes, old school networking never goes away,
Nope.
and paid advertising.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy how but, like, good paid advertising, you have to know what you're doing because
Yes.
you can waste so much money doing advertising so wrong, which we have seen so many clients come to us and like, well, I've done, so many Facebook ads, but they just aren't going very well. And it's like, well, let's dig into that
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
just,
There's an art and science to it for sure. I don't
it,
teach paid advertising until later with my
oh,
clients
it's starting
because,
to better in. Yeah.
yeah, I don't want them to flush their money down the toilet prematurely. We
Yeah.
need to be smart about turning ads on. There's a time to do it in your
Yeah.
business.
Absolutely. I agree. So okay, let's say somebody signs up for your course. How does it start? And like, how long does your coaching course, not the book writing, because we know that's 6 months, but how long does your coaching course take them through? Like, is it a year or are they until they're
Yeah.
done?
It's a
Um,
good question. So the Therapist to Coach Accelerator, it is an accelerator program. So I'd say most programs that exist that are similar are a year long. I'm
mhm.
like, give me my checklist, tell me what I need to do. That's how
Yeah.
I like to learn. So that's how I teach. So my program's 4 months. It is an accelerator. The recorded course they have access to for longer because there's videos that they maybe won't even get to, such as the paid advertising. It might not be applicable, or they're just going to go back and rewatch, right? That's how we learn through repetition. But it's 4 months. I have, coaching calls every single day of the week for support. There is tons of hand holding, customized feedback, support. I think it's just the one thing that was always lacking in coaching
Yeah.
programs that I took was support. So I'm
Yeah.
super hyper conscious of the support that everybody gets.
So they get to see the recorded content, but then do they do calls with you, or is it just they can email you and like you're there, or how does your support look like for them?
Yeah, both. So we have a copywriting call, 2 calls a week are with me. There's a mindset call, there's a sales call, there's a client success coach for one-to-one sessions, there's a VIP Facebook group for additional support.
Wow.
And then there's line auditing for customized feedback.
That's so cool. So
Yeah.
how did you find, are these other people that are helping you do the support? Like, how did you find them?
Yes. Yeah, I have support coaches. It's a mixture of how I found them. Yeah. It just depends what position I was looking to fill. So your typical hiring process of
Yeah.
posting your job posting
Yeah.
and reading resumes and doing interviews. I did all of that.
Are
If
any
they
of
weren't
your
already
support coaches,
internally in my world.
yeah, I was gonna ask, did you hire any of your what are they called? Mentees?
Clients.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I did actually. My copywriting coach, for example, she's a therapist and a parent coach, and she came through my program, and I was always like, "How is your copywriting so good? Like, this is so good. It's like you're a
Yeah.
professional." And she's like, "Oh yeah, well, I write novels for fun. I have an English background as well." And
What?
I was like, "No kidding. Like, this makes sense." Um, so naturally, like, she filled that role.
Mhm.
So it can happen like that internally or just who you know in your network. But a few of my coaches I've had to, post and go through interviews as
Yeah.
well.
That's a strenuous process.
Yeah.
I guess in your course, I'm sure you've talked about like how you get clients, but then do you talk about like what it looks like, how to find the right client? Because I know that we see people sometimes and you can just kind of tell on a call that they're not going to be a good fit with you. So do you work with them on that? Because I know that that's, as a therapist, sometimes you're like, I need clients, but then you get to that point where like, I can't, like this client
hmm
doesn't work. So do you teach them how to kind of weed through that, or is that not something you put in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Uh, it's all part of the pre qualifying process and the targeting.
Oh,
So
cool.
most people don't have marketing issues, they have messaging issues. We need to get really clear on your messaging and who you help and how exactly you help them. What's the problem they have? What's the solution you're getting them to where we're actually repelling people who don't fit that mold. And then, we're speaking with them either in, email or messenger prior to even getting on a call, or we're getting them on like a pre-qualifying call, like a 10-15 minute call to see if a consult call even makes sense. You can even hire a team eventually, which I also teach, to have somebody do all of that pre-qualifying for you. So your time is not consumed
Yeah.
doing
I
all of
mean,
that. There's an
it is a
application
lot.
that they have to fill out, right? So there's different steps and tiers so that eventually, like, it's down to the point where you're only getting your perfect fit ideal clients in front of you.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's like the dream.
Yeah.
So okay, you just said that, is that something that's included in that first package, or there's like it goes this far and then you can keep going and do the how I build my team to help me kind of weed through these people? Is that like a second phase of your coaching?
It's all included in the Therapist to Coach Accelerator program. So I do have a second phase now that you bring this up. It's my graduate program, if you will, where I really am teaching how to like manage or hire your team, uh, turn on paid advertising. So I have a paid advertising expert and a tech expert where you're doing some of the more, funnel building, like techie operational automations, the
Yeah. Oh, the
scaling
stuff that makes people
strategies.
wanna bang their head against a wall.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we do the therapist to coach accelerator first, really get your firm foundation in place. And then you can move on to doing paid advertising, hiring a team, funnel building, tech operations.
Can they just move straight on, or do you require them to kinda, like, get their feet under them for, like, a couple months before they
It
jump in?
depends. I've had people come straight into my graduate program, but it's because they were experienced and they have probably done other business coaching programs. And then they were at that point. A
Mhm.
majority of people need to start with therapist to coach accelerator first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just again, they don't teach you any of this, so and they don't teach you coaching. Like, there are coaches out there that will teach you coaching, but the therapist to coach realm is it's so different. Like, you're not just going
Yeah.
in to be a quote unquote life coach. You're going in still with all of your therapy training into like a more specific
Yeah.
path, I guess.
You have to know the business side of everything.
I know. It's a lot. So, do you have people that come through and they just like they thought they wanted to do this and then they're like, It's too much. I can't do it." Has that ever happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has. I think it happens with every industry, you
Yeah.
know? Um, I try to be as transparent and realistic upfront that this is a lot of work. I'm
It
never the
is. Yeah.
mentor that just pretends that this is rainbows and butterflies
No.
because it's not. Um, However, if you want to take a shortcut, hire a mentor. They can help you take that hop, skip, and a jump, but you have to be willing to dedicate the time. The name of the game becomes buying back your freedom, right? So,
Mhm.
where you can be making easy 10K months in your coaching business, but you're not trading dollars for hours. Where to make 10K months in your practice, you would have to see X amount of clients every month,
Yeah, a
right?
lot.
So now you're running two group coaching calls making 10K months, but you've still put in the time, the leverage time, short-term pain for the long-term gain of even creating your course and hiring your team and training your team. So it's not just like a get rich quick thing
No,
to add coaching.
it's a
It's
get
not a
rich, but you
hobby.
gotta put in the work.
It's a business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure you don't see them as much anymore because, like you said, you've kind of written this language to kind of repel people, but was that I'm sure that was a learning process too, because did you see people that would come in and they're like, this isn't fast enough, like, I want it to go even faster, you said I'd be making blah, 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 like, is that how you learn to write these, like, repellent, I guess, wording?
Um I think I was out of the gates always like that because I knew for myself and my journey of coaching and launching things that when I was doing my women empowerment coaching, my messaging sucked sometimes when I
Yeah.
was launching things, or, I didn't know how to figure out my niche, or like I did get crickets, and it took me doing market research and pivoting and, having the balls to launch again and do it again, where I figured this out that like it's not rainbows and butterflies to begin with.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
So, you see what kinds of therapists, any kind of therapist, I know, but, like, what just for other people listening out there, because I know that you're an LCSW, but it's not just for one kind of therapist. Like, have you seen some that are just, like I don't know, I don't even know what I'm
Yeah.
saying anymore, just, like,
Yeah.
what
All types of therapists. Whether you're a mental health therapist, I've helped physical therapist, occupational therapist,
Oh, I hadn't even
speech
thought about
language
that.
pathologist. I've helped chiropractors. Honestly, I have two friends that are taking my course right now, a photographer, a hairdresser. I've helped a real estate agent. So they're not in my coaching program. It's basically just like healers who might as well could have been therapist or some
Mhm.
type of therapist. I have a passion for helping people in the wellness industry.
Mhm.
So those are who mesh well together in my group program, but the same concepts apply. I mean, again, 90% of my program is marketing and sales. The very beginning is teaching therapists how to protect their license and the nuances that they have to go through going from therapist to coach. But it's business school and it can apply to any type of business owner who wants to create their signature coaching program.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about, like, SLPs and, other physical therapists and stuff. So are you have the group what you said, like, something about a group program, is that the same thing, or are those 2 separate things?
Yeah. So the Therapist to Coach Accelerator is a group program.
Okay.
So there's the recorded course and then the 5 coaching calls a week where they have like copywriting calls with me, mindset call, sales call. That's group.
Okay.
And
So
then there
there's
is one to ones, there is additional support, there is customized feedback, but it's group coaching.
yeah. So how does the group coaching go? Do they just ask questions? Do you come in with, like a "Here's what we're gonna talk about today" kind of a thing, or kind of both?
Yeah, it's a good question. So it's Q&A. So people come prepared with their questions. And then sometimes people are like, oh, you answered my question. It was the same question. Love
Yeah.
when that happens. It's like osmosis learning where everybody's learning from each other. They're future pacing one another. They're bringing each other back to the basics because everybody's at different spots.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's so cool, and it's nice to, like, be in that group setting where you're not alone, I guess, and, I mean, it's
Yeah.
the one-to-one I'm sure are amazing, but, like, that group setting, I'm sure it kind of helps, like, to hear other people maybe struggling with the same, you know, phase that they're in, and I'm sure these group sessions are kind of as they move through the questions, kind of move along in time with the material, but that's really cool that you just open it up and it's like, "Hey, just ask me the question and I'm here for you." Because
Yeah.
we've talked to others who are like, each one it has a theme. We can only answer questions within this theme and like blah blah blah. And it's like, well, what if I don't have that question yet, but I still
Hmm.
need it answered before we move on to the next phase kind of a situation. So
Yeah.
I like that. All right. Well, anything else you're working on? I feel like, we've talked a while and I don't I haven't even asked what's happening, what's coming up, what's this year look like?
There's always something up my sleeve. So if you get to
Stay
know me long
tuned.
enough, there is always something that is going on. I would say the Bring Your Book to Life program is my big project right now. I've
Mhm.
been working behind the scenes for months on that. But what's to come is podcast. That's definitely on the list. And then public speaking. I'm taking a public speaking program. It starts next week
Oh,
actually.
cool. Yeah.
So spreading my message on stages, being more globally known, and starting my podcast as well.
Yeah.
Hello,
That's
throat
cool.
chakra stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's gonna be so awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear all of that. So, you guys stay
Thank
tuned with
you.
Carly as she moves into 2024 and sign up for all of her stuff because she's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you, Carly, so much for being on this with us. We're gonna wrap it up and we'll talk to you again, I'm sure. But thank
Okay.
you.
Take care.
Bye.